Well, Dick Durbin and the Democrats are going after the Supreme Court. They're going to go after every conservative justice with any kind of a financial or a gift that they've ever been given by anybody. Their goal is to undermine the court. So Tom Cotton's calling them out. Welcome to In Exile. I'm Doug. This is where the happy people are.
It's not, as Senator Whitehouse says, an effort to expose wrongdoing at the Supreme Court. It's an effort to delegitimize the Supreme Court because you don't like the way they rule.
We don't want you to miss out on one piece of news, so don't forget to subscribe. But Tom Cotton here is absolutely demolishing the Democrat Party because they only are attacking the Supreme Court. This is their form of lawfare. It's their last resort. They can't win at the election box.
When you lose at the ballot box, for years, you tried to achieve in courts what you couldn't achieve through democratic elections and legislatures. You thought the Supreme Court was your own special province. And then, when there became a center-right majority on the Supreme Court, you began to attack its very foundations. There's not some secret. It's wide out in the open. Chuck Schumer has gone to the steps of the Supreme Court and threatened justices by name that they wouldn't know what hit them if they ruled in ways that the Democratic Party didn't like.
When Democrats say that Trump uses violent rhetoric or whatever, Chuck Schumer has actually threatened our Supreme Court justices. Nothing happened to him because the Democrats do not care about these threats. They don't care when Trump does it. That's why I'm laughing at them. Some say, oh, Doug, you're too coarse to laugh at them. No, I'm laughing at them. They should only be laughed at as they call Trump an insurrectionist, claim that his rhetoric inspires violence. Remember, they're all lying. They're always lying. This is the only way they can win is by lying. The only way the Republicans can win is by getting the truth out.
In May of 2022, the unprecedented action of leaking the Supreme Court decision in the Dobbs case occurred, unleashing left-wing street militias outside of justices' homes. Justice Alito, the author of that opinion, says that he thinks he knows who it was, and he thinks it was done on purpose to assassinate a Supreme Court justice to stop the Dobbs decision from coming down.
By the way, the speculation is that it was Judge Sotomayor, one of her assistants, that leaked the decision because she was afraid that Roe v. Wade was going to be overturned, and it was rightly overturned. But she leaked it. It never happened before in Supreme Court history, and they got away with it again because these are leftists. These are Marxists. These are hardened Jacobins. This is a revolution to them. That's why Trump has to win. We have to get the Republicans back in the majorities, also in the House and Senate, to keep packing the court.
Merrick Garland did nothing to stop these left-wing street militias as they blatantly violated federal law, protesting outside the homes of justices about a pending matter. In fact, he directed the Marshal Service to make no arrests. He lied about it to Congress, exposed by Senator Britt from Alabama.
Crooked Merrick Garland, who needs to be impeached. And by the way, this assassin that was sent to Justice Kavanaugh's house, the assassin was a trans person. News totally scrubbed it out of existence to try and do a cover-up. This is all just a giant, just a media cover-up by Democrats.
It all culminated, where it naturally was, with a left-wing hitman traveling from California to the Capital Region and being caught outside Brett Kavanaugh's home with things like zip ties, tactical knives, pepper spray, hammers, screwdrivers, nail punches, crowbars, duct tape, pistol lights, boots padded for stealthiness, and a Glock 17 pistol. Even after that left-wing hitman was caught outside Justice Kavanaugh's home, the White House continued to refuse to enforce the law, indeed, to celebrate these left-wing street militias. The White House spokeswoman even said, "We certainly do continue to encourage that," the protests, "outside judges' home. That's the president's position."
They're trying to intimidate them. They are going after Amy Coney Barrett especially, and also Judge Clarence Thomas especially, but also Alito. So if they can intimidate them, the Democrats, and they're going to try and pack the courts with their own leftists. They're going to try to expand the number of justices because they can't win a majority with 9. So if they win the next election, They're going to undermine the election, the majority will of the people, by creating a 13 to 15 person court. They can expand the states by 2 more states also. This is how radical the left is.
That's what this entire episode is about. Not about getting to the bottom of behavior that's permitted by law and permitted by rule, but continuing your brazen and outrageous campaign against the Supreme Court because you don't like the way it rules. You all ought to be ashamed of yourself.
They ought to be ashamed, but they're not. They have no shame. They're going after Clarence Thomas because his are the decisions that they like the least. So they're going after him the most. And they're making up this whole, he was given a motorhome and it was forgiven. But the amount of gifts, like for instance, notice the amount of gifts that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden get, whole houses worth millions and millions of dollars. They're saying up to $20 million now is what he's on the hook for. They have no interest in it. So this is just politics, guys. Everybody yawn. Clarence Thomas is innocent. Democrats are lying, and they're only after him because he's black.
Because you're the ones who always profess how you're defending our democracy. You're the ones undermining our democracy.
Democrats hate democracy. When did they ever? That's why they're taking Trump's name off the ballot. They do not care about democracy. So I like that he put it in quotes. I like that they keep crying. It's like, make fun of them. Every time they say democracy's on the ballot and Trump will be the last election, laugh at him. It's a lie.
The shoe will be on the other foot one day. Go ahead, issue this subpoena. See what happens when we take back the majority. See which subpoenas we start to issue for the left-wing activists and billionaires who are behind all of your agitprop campaigns, who probably help fund those left-wing street militias outside justices' homes, who help fund the anti-Semitic wing of the Democratic Party protesting on college campuses and even in this Capitol complex. Go ahead, issue your subpoena next week. We'll see what happens when we take back the majority.
Well, that's a threat from Tom Cotton, and you better make good on it, because I don't believe the Republicans will fight. Do you? Let me know in the comments if you think the Republicans will turn around when they're back in control and start launching these investigations into the people that are funding Democrats, especially George Soros, who went after, funded in each state, attorney generals in each state. So we'll see. Big words, Tom Cotton. I believe in you. I agree. I agree with the tactic. I believe Tom Cotton is a straight shooter, but let's see if it gets done. I'm Doug in Exile.